That brings me to this next story. This is from AZ Central. Warrant issued for arrest of far-right streamer Tim Baked Alaska Gianet after he violates release conditions, fails to show in court. Now, for many of you, you may not know who this guy is. Many of you may. But he's been involved a lot in politics. He used to work for BuzzFeed. He then worked for Milo Yiannopoulos. And I've actually interviewed him in the past. He was associated with right-wing groups and then alt-right groups and then argued he wasn't alt-right, and then it goes back and forth. But the reality is, I think what we've learned from his time at BuzzFeed, his attempt at being a rapper, is that he's actually just driven to get likes. He's driven to get attention on social media. And I think his story and everything this guy's done, he's filming himself storming the Capitol. He's pointing the camera and he's like, Trump's going to be really happy with us. And he picks up Pelosi's phone or whatever, and he's making jokes. He's gone so far off the deep end. There are a lot of people, right? So before we read into this, I want to mention Joey Salads, right? You guys know Joey Salads?
Yep.
We had him on the show. He made a YouTube video where he hired black men to vandalize a car with Trump support, like Trump merchandise in it. And what he did was, he was like, I'm going to leave this car with Trump supporter stuff in it in this neighborhood and see what happens. And the next scene is black men damaging the vehicle. Somebody in the apartment above filmed it and saw what Joey had done. And then right when he released the video, sent the footage to, I think, H3H3, and then busted him staging this attack, which was, and many people said it was racist or fueling racism, whatever you want to call it. And so I snapped at the dude. I was yelling at him. I was like, this is disgusting behavior. But Joey, he apologized. Most people just don't give him a chance at redemption. But I've always said, if you don't at least let someone try to do better, they won't. They'll go the other direction. So I had a conversation with him, and what he said to me and what he said to many other people is that he didn't realize how far he had gone in making this content and chasing after the money and the views. Now you look at someone like Baked Alaska, he's got no limit. It's all about the next one up to get that hit, to make that money, to get those likes, to get that traffic. And then he winds up, listen, here's the story. I'll give you the gist of it. He jumped bail, according to AZ Central, to go to DC in the first place, breaking the law. He breaks the law going in the building and films himself doing it. And then he doesn't show up for court, and his lawyer can't get a hold of him. He has been driven to the extreme end, chasing after this. And the crazy thing, he got started at BuzzFeed. Ben Smith, the former editor-in-chief, I believe, was the one who hired him. He wrote an op-ed about it. You take this young person, you put him in this environment where you're like, get those likes, get those likes. This is what BuzzFeed's all about. Get those shares, get those shares. And they're going to, and I don't think BuzzFeed gets to absolve themselves of the responsibility of what they created in this dude.
Well, if you look at the inner workings of BuzzFeed, they actually have entire walls dedicated to how many likes, how many hits an article gets. Don't look at me like that, Lydia.
You said licks.
I know I did. It was a fraudulent slip. But they incentivize
Freudian slip.
Potato. They incentivize. I'm Polish and dyslexic. They incentivize literally get as many hits as you can. So is it fair to say that Baked Alaska is a product of BuzzFeed and BuzzFeed radicalized him?
Yes,
I don't.
BuzzFeed radicalized. I'm not trying to make a joke about it though. It's true.
I don't think he is. I think he was already like that because even before the whole Capitol thing, I would actually see some of his videos just on Twitter with the circulating. It'll just be him walking into like a grocery store with no mask, and then people telling him wear a mask, and then he'll tell him like to F off.
The BuzzFeed stuff was years and years and years ago. Nobody knew who he was when he worked at BuzzFeed.
Oh yeah, I know.
And he gets hired for this job where they incentivize his behavior, bro. Those things you do, that shock content, you can make money doing
Yeah,
this.
he was like
Shock content.
breeded in that system, and like there's no wonder that he right now like that became his whole model.
Well, let's read this. So this is from AC Central. They say a Scottsdale judge issued a warrant for the arrest of far-right social media personality Tim Baked Alaska Gianet after he said Gianet violated conditions of his release by leaving the state last week to go to Washington, where he apparently live streamed the U.S. Capitol riot. Gianet already was facing misdemeanor charges of assault, disorderly conduct, and criminal trespass in Scottsdale City Court after police allege he refused to leave a bar and then pepper sprayed an employee. He had been released in that case with the agreement he not leave the state without the court's permission. Didn't he film himself doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
He filmed himself on that D Live live stream. Yeah, picks
spraying
up
somebody.
Yeah, picks up the Senate phone and acts like he's like talking to Donald Trump. It's an all bad video.
So they say
speechless.
Judge James Blake was not pleased that the 33-year-old Gianet chose to skip his court hearing without explanation. And even Gianet's attorney, Zach Thornley, was unable to reach his client on the phone during the court hearing. Now, my understanding is that D Live banned him.
Yeah.
Look, I remember when he was posting these like ironic Nazi jokes on Twitter, And then I interviewed him, and he said, look, it was just supposed to be edgy, and it was supposed to trigger the left who was freaking out, and it was a mistake. And I was like, okay. And then he does it again and again and again, and then he gets banned. He had like 250,000 followers on Twitter.
Huge, yeah.
And he gets banned because he just would not stop. He was constantly trying to one-up everything. So I was like, okay, dude was clearly lying to me. Now we see where he's gone since then. It is just a constant one-up. I tell you, man, when you're an addict and you are chasing after that hit, I don't care if it's social media or drugs, this dude is now a fugitive from the law. Isn't it crazy how, like, we talk about social media being addictive, how you guys are mentioning that, Luke, you said it was like alcoholism, something crazier than that. Here's a guy now who his lawyer can't find him and the judge wants him locked up, and he's probably facing federal charges for the right. This warrant we're talking about, that's Scottsdale, Arizona. That's Arizona, right? That's not. We're not even talking about what's going to happen with the FBI.
Federal prison to own the libs.
Mm-hmm.
No, but for the likes, man. This is the important thing, right? I don't think Baked Alaska is far right. I think he's
like a social media
saying whatever he can to whoever will listen.
Yeah.
And
social media prostitute. I don't know.
Here's what happened to a lot of people on Twitter. They would post a meme, and if it was like left or right, probably right because most memes were being produced by the right.
Right. Yeah.
They get a ton of likes. Feels good. A lot of shares. More followers. So they one up it. And they chase after it with no end. No point of self-reflection. At no point do they say, hey, whoa, maybe that's too much, like Joey Salads did. Only until he got caught and shut down did Joey realize, like, I didn't realize what I was doing. And now he's stopped. And now his videos are like hokey pranks with his girlfriend where, like, he puts, like, sprays with ketchup
Tim, I
or
don't...
something.
Just really quick. Hey, attention is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, man.
Sorry.
Tim, I don't know if you ever, or Luke, if you guys in Sagnik, if you guys heard of this social media girl. It was a couple years ago. Her name was, because now that we're speaking about this, just brings me up to my head. Her name was Lil Tay, and she was like,
she was a drug.
She was like a 10-year-old girl, regular girl, and her brother tried to groom her to be this like fake social media rapper, and basically her videos would be like, you put the camera on her, she'd be like, I'm Lil Tay, I'm 10 years old, and she just have money. She's like, I'm rich, this is my Ferrari, and she just got into it. And then I think I forgot what investigative reporter was able to pull the videos where her brother is literally training her behind a green screen. Like, and she's just like a regular 10-year-old girl. She's like, what do I say? Say it like this. Be more ignorant. And it was just now that we're speaking about that addiction, it was like it was that too. Like they were just that likes, and there was fake image.
There was cases of people abusing their children for YouTube videos.
Yeah, exactly.
That Philip DeFranco even called out and brought to everyone's attention that was able to actually take them down. Because if it wasn't for individuals like Philip DeFranco to actually address this, no one would have known. They would have kept growing in numbers. But he and I think a couple of his viewers took all of the videos and they made a compilation, and it was akin to child abuse of them putting their children in front of the camera, making them fight, doing everything for attention, slapping them, hitting them. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy how low people will go.
There was a video on YouTube of a dad giving his daughter a vaccine, and like pulling her pants down and putting the needle in her butt, and it had like 12 million views. I don't. It wasn't in America, but there was this phenomenon that happened on YouTube where bots figured out what was getting clicks. And created these insane videos of like, you'd see these cartoon thumbnails of like a guy drinking out of a urinal, and it's for real, like a cartoon. And you click the video, and it's like, what was Spider-Man, Joker, and Elsa running around with music, and then Elsa was pregnant, and Joker would have a gigantic syringe because those were for some reason what the algorithm was promoting. So these people are chasing after whatever they can get. The algorithms are turning us into lunatics.
Yeah.
Dude, I get messages from people, man. I don't know what's happened to my friends. No joke. I have left-wing friends who think that, I don't even want to get into the conspiracy stuff they believe, but it's like, you've heard of QAnon. You know why? Because the media talks about it. And they go, haha, look how dumb the right-wingers are. But the right doesn't point the finger at the fringe conspiracies of the left and the things they believe. Probably because that's not what the conservatives do. They're focused on government. They're focused on seats of power.
Yeah.
But because the media is focused on this threat of QAnon, they don't talk about the left and the unhinged and insane conspiracies. Like, we got a glimpse of it when MSNBC ran a segment where they claimed that Donald Trump was a Soviet KGB asset. The Soviet Union, no joke, from the 80s. they actually had a guy on and said we got to consider that Trump may have been maybe an asset of Russia going back to the 80s when they were part of the Soviet Union, dude. Now that was a glimpse. I tell you, man, I'm not going to name some of these people because they got a lot of followers, hundreds of thousands. They've been on Twitter the entire time saying insane things well beyond what Q says. So you hear about this QAnon stuff, and they'll be like, the Nighthawk is driving, and Silver Fox is gonna launch the missile, and then we're gonna see the indictments, and it's like it means nothing. And then you look at some of these people on the left, and they're like, murmurs are happening now at the DOJ. They're revolting. The deep state is going to put Bannon on trial for treason, and he's going to be executed. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But the media doesn't talk about it. They give it a pass.
Well, the mainstream media is now telling us that the biggest threat for our democracy, for our existence, are people's individual political opinion, when in reality, the threat is the social media. It's leading people to hurt people. It's leading people to exploit people. It's leading people to break the laws. And just in those particular instances that we noted here, there's so many more. There was a case in Indonesia where people were taking puppies and putting them in horrible predicaments and then rescuing them. And it was always the same puppy being rescued after he was placed there. And they were manipulating the algorithm, which that was incentivized, promoted by YouTube. Just right now, when you talked about that vaccine case, I remember seeing on my newsfeed, looking up stories for this particular podcast, I seen a vaccine proposal, someone getting a vaccine and proposing on social media to get the likes and attention. So when we look at the bigger threat towards our existence, it's not people who say stuff on social media that you may not like. It is social media that is the existential threat against humanity.
Just ban all of it.
And the crazy thing is,
ban all of it and ban us, whatever. I don't care. Humans have lost their minds. This is nuts.
Yeah, and I mean, the funny thing is, it's not the funny thing, but it's just how media continues to divide us. And I think I actually heard this yesterday on Tim's show yesterday, was the populists on the left and the right agree on so much. Like if you just sat them at a dinner table, they would literally be shaking hands at the end of the dinner table like, wow, we could probably take down the establishment. But the media makes it seem like we're so divided. Like at the end of the day, if you grab someone from the left and then the right, they say, hey, you know what? Healthcare is screwing us over. I want to send my kids to college. I want to be able to work where I want. I want to be able to raise a family on maybe on one income. We agree on these things, but they're making it seem like we are now like at a civil war. We're two different countries. It's just not
I mentioned this on the show yesterday. We were talking about the show Recess, the cartoon, and I figured out who this guy was. Is Randall Weems. All right. So it's a cartoon called Recess, and it's about, these kids, an eclectic bunch, a diverse bunch, mind you. You've got different races. You've got the nerdy guy, you got the fat kid, and then like the regular kid or whatever. I don't know. But there's this one kid who would always snitch to Miss Finster. And there's a quote, hey, let me play or I'll make up something to tell Miss Finster on you. And this kid's like hunched back, and he's like the teacher. He's always, snitching on everybody. That's a journalist. That's journalists today, all right? What they do is they see people posting jokes and having a good time, and they go, I'm going to report you. And then they call someone at like a bank. Did you know that there's a guy on Twitter who said something dumb, and he's got a bank account with you? And then they're like, we don't serve them anymore. We're going to ban them. They're like, shut down their fun. Here's the best part. The show Recess is from when I was a kid, right? And so I look up this wiki for Recess, and Randall Weems, age 9, however, year of birth is 1988.
Oh.
He's 32 years old. That means he probably is at the age where he would work at BuzzFeed.
Oh, great.
That's right. So I'm telling you, man, these people, these journalists, are literally the Randall Weems of the world. Mm-hmm. We were all having fun during recess, playing kickball. Some of us were really good at it. Some of us were bad at it. Some of us were the weird loner kids who were hanging out, minding our own business, or you were the kid playing Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and skateboarding. But he was these journalists were the nasty little tattletales who were always sucking up to the teacher and just getting in everyone's way, and everybody hated them. I wonder if you all know the kind of person I'm talking about, and you can think like, oh man, I remember that kid.
I got one
now
name.
They work at BuzzFeed.
Yeah. Carla Mazza.
Carlos Mazza. Oh
He just
my
comes into
God.
head
He's
when you
Randall
say
Weems,
that.
dude.
He's
Yeah.
still a
He is,
thing,
yeah.
which
Oliver
bothers me
Darcy.
so
But-
much.
Oliver Darcy.
Oliver
But Tim, not
Darcy,
only are
Jesus.
the
everyone at Media Matters.
are journalists playing the snitch role, but the journalists now are playing the PR role, where now a politician would say something and they just run with it. Like what happened to us, holding them to holding the powerful accountable. Now that we just do PR for them. I'm not going to say the MSNBC's host name, but as soon as Biden got elected, she went on Twitter and said, "Oh, isn't this a great day for America? We finally have a president who doesn't lie." It's like you're a news person.
Yeah.
Hold them accountable. So now, journalists run PR for these people.
And he lied about the Iraq War. So
Yeah.
let's not forget.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Biden is a bag of lies.
No,
Yeah.
If a politician is not lying, it's not a politician. I'm sorry.
But Luke, he tweets Black Lives Matter, so it's okay. It's okay.
Again, it's okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Doesn't matter
Yeah.
that we bomb Black lives in the Middle East as long as we tweet it. That's okay.
Right. You know it.
You know, Joe Biden is a lot of things, and it's funny because everything the left says about Trump, you could point at Joe Biden and be like, "I'll give you some examples." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but he's corrupt. Oh, we got China, we got Ukraine, we got the Bobby Linsky. Yeah, but Trump is a lecherous old man. It's like, whoa, hold on there.
Well.
We got video after video after video of Sleepy
right.
Creepy Joe touching them little girls, man. So look, you can tell from the media, and I'm over talking about it, but I have to. Like, let me rephrase that. I'm sitting in my room, you know, I'm doing research, I'm reading the news, and there are stories that I probably would have talked about a year ago where it's like double standard in media, and I'd be like, can you believe this double standard? Now I'm like, so what? It's life. It's the new normal.
It's part
we
of it,
know
yeah.
the media's lying half the time, more than half the time.
I mean, come on. CNN just had John Sullivan as a correspondent.
CNN brought on. Okay, so CNN goes, these are insurrectionist domestic terrorists. Now, for our next guest,
John
one of the
Sullivan.
domestic,
One of them,
John Sullivan,
yes.
a guy who was arrested for egging them on and inciting the riot.
Yep.
And he's not a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
He even said he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And they have him on because they can point the finger at the right and they get away with it. That's creepy, man.
Yeah. Hey, we're all gonna be waiting for that update on CNN that they interviewed a criminal. But I got a feeling that update won't be
I
coming.
don't see that.
Well, thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.